T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected. So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting has gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this: a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
The Harris family just can't stay out of the headlines, and this time it's darker than anything we've seen before. News just broke that King Harris, the son of rap legend T.I. and Tiny, was attacked inside jail, and the story is spreading like wildfire. For years, fans have watched King spiral through drama, from viral meltdowns at Waffle House to online rants about being outside and tougher than people think. But all that tough talk turned into reality when he landed behind bars after a string of reckless decisions, capped off with a 5-year prison sentence. Now, instead of flexing on Instagram, King is facing the harsh reality of jail, and the reports say it's already caught up to him. According to sources, King was targeted during his time in custody, reportedly jumped by a group of inmates who weren't impressed by his celebrity background or his father's fame. Some say it started over words exchanged in the unit, others say it was simply because he's T.I.'s son, and that alone painted a target on his back. Whatever the reason, King ended up on the wrong side of a beatdown, and word spread quickly. Inmates talking, staff whispering, and soon the outside world picked up on it. By the time the blogs got hold of the story, it became the latest viral moment tied to King's name, only this time there wasn't anything funny about it.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
For T.I., this was the breaking point. The man who built his reputation on surviving the streets and flipping his hustle into an empire is now watching his son live out the nightmare he fought to escape. Reports say Tip went into full father mode, pleading with the courts and the jail system for his son's release, or at the very least, protection. He's been loud, making it clear he doesn't trust the system to keep King safe. To T.I., this ain't about fame or saving face anymore. This is about his son's life. And here's the irony. For the last few years, King has been painting himself as somebody who could handle that lifestyle. He told fans he wasn't raised soft. He bragged about being outside. And he clashed with his dad in public trying to prove he wasn't privileged. But now, he's getting a taste of the same streets and cells he romanticized, and the outcome ain't pretty. It's no longer about clout or acting hard. It's survival, and judging by how fast T.I. is moving to get him out, even Tip knows his son isn't built for this. The internet, as always, is divided. Some fans feel bad, saying nobody deserves to be jumped in jail, especially someone as young as King. They see him as immature, reckless, but still a kid who's in way over his head. Others are less forgiving, pointing out how often King mocked people, claimed he wasn't scared of consequences, and pushed this tough guy image. This the life he wanted, right? One fan tweeted, while another wrote, he said he was outside, now he outside for real. The memes, the jokes, the criticism, it all hit the timeline the same day news broke about the attack.
I really admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, I kind of told him, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass and tell things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know
Really?
what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
So him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12, so
But strip away the noise and the core of the story is raw. A young man chasing an image now dealing with real consequences, and a father who's watching helplessly as his son faces the exact danger he tried to protect him from. King's situation isn't just another blog headline. It's proof that jail don't care who your parents are, and the streets don't show mercy just because you're famous. When word spread that King Harris got attacked inside, the first person to react publicly was exactly who you'd expect, T.I., the same man who spent his career rapping about hustling, dodging the system and surviving the streets, is now begging for the very system he once battled to show his son mercy. Reports say Tip has been making calls to lawyers, pushing motions through court, and even leaning on his industry connections to try and get King transferred or released early. To T.I., this isn't about King's mistakes anymore. It's about protecting his blood, and that desperation has been spilling into the public. Tip went on social media, speaking directly to his fans and the culture. He didn't hide his pain, admitting straight up that King isn't built for this life and that the system has turned his son into a target. "Y'all got my boy in there with wolves," he said in one clip that went viral. "He ain't safe in that place." He even accused the judge of making an example out of King just because of his last name. To Tip, this ain't justice. It's punishment for being his son. The rest of the Harris family has been shaken too. Tiny, King's mother, has been quiet for the most part, but insiders say she's been breaking down behind the scenes, calling every day to check on her boy. King's siblings, who've all lived in the public eye thanks to the family hustle, are also feeling the weight. For years, the Harris family was packaged as the perfect balance of fame, hustle, and unity. Now that image is cracking, and the world is watching it fall apart in real time. But the internet ain't letting up. For every fan that shows support, there are 3 more dropping memes, clowning King for all the times he bragged about being outside. Twitter threads popped up with receipts: his Waffle House meltdown, his fight with Tip at the Falcons game, his cocky smile when cops cuffed him during that 2024 arrest. Each one captioned with lines like, "Thought he was ready for jail, guess not." TikTok edits showed Boozy laughing over headlines of King's attack, cementing this as another chapter in the long-running comedy the internet has turned his life into. Still, a deeper conversation is bubbling. Some fans are saying this is exactly why parents like T.I. need to guide their kids differently. They argue that Tip gave King too much freedom, let him play gangster instead of checking him early, and now the streets are teaching him the lessons his dad couldn't. Others argue the opposite, that T.I. was too hard, too public, constantly embarrassing King with tough love speeches, and that pushed him to rebel harder. Either way, the parenting debate is now part of the story, with everyone weighing in on how Tip handled his son before things spiraled. Meanwhile, King's name is everywhere. Some blogs call him a victim, others a cautionary tale. Either way, his reputation has shifted. The same kid who went viral for clownish behavior is now at the center of a serious discussion about how fame, family, and street culture collide. He's not just a meme anymore. He's a symbol of what happens when chasing clout turns into real-life consequences. For Tip, this is torture. He spent his life fighting out of the trap, turning his story into a legacy that was supposed to give his kids freedom. Now he's pleading for mercy, watching that legacy crumble in front of the world. Every word he speaks about King's safety, every post, every interview is drenched in fear, not just of losing his son to prison, but of losing him to the violence inside. And that fear is something even a rap mogul with millions can't escape. To really understand why King Harris ended up here, you gotta look back at his long pattern of reckless behavior. This ain't just one bad decision. This is years of King pushing the line, ignoring advice, and trying to live up to an image that was never really his. From the start, King was a celebrity kid. Cameras followed him on the family hustle. He grew up in mansions, and his life was worlds away from the struggles his father once rapped about. But instead of embracing that privilege, King resented it. He hated being called soft or spoiled, so he spent his teenage years trying to prove he was the opposite. That led to viral moments like the infamous Waffle House meltdown in 2022. King went live, cursing out employees and telling everyone he wasn't raised soft. He even bragged that he was outside for real, despite growing up surrounded by bodyguards and luxury cars. The internet clowned him instantly, calling him a suburban gangster and turning the clip into a meme that still follows him today. Then came the Falcons game fight in 2023, where he and T.I. got into a heated argument in front of a stadium full of fans. King screamed that he wasn't raised privileged, while Tip snapped back that he sacrificed everything to give him a better life. That clip went viral too, cementing King's image as a kid caught between privilege and pride. It wasn't just a father-son fight. It was a public display of King rejecting everything his parents built for him. By 2024, things got worse. King was arrested after nearly crashing into a cop car. Police found weed, a gun, and discovered he had an outstanding warrant from 2022. Instead of showing remorse, King smirked as cameras caught him being cuffed, almost like it was validation for the street image he'd been chasing. Fans said he finally got what he wanted, a taste of the life he glorified. But the judge saw it differently. To them, this wasn't a kid experimenting. This was a young man spiraling out of control, disrespecting authority, and setting himself up for disaster. That's why the 5-year sentence came down so heavy. The judge pointed directly to his history of public antics, saying King had been given chance after chance to turn things around. The Waffle House incident, the Falcons game, the live rants, all of it painted a picture of someone who didn't take life seriously. The court wanted to make an example out of him, sending a message that fame and a famous last name wouldn't protect him from consequences. And now, King is living with the outcome of those choices. Instead of Instagram lives where he can turn himself into a meme, he's inside a facility where nobody cares about his follower count. Instead of arguing with fans online, he's surrounded by people who see him as a target just because of who his father is. The attack in jail wasn't random. It was the natural result of a young man carrying an image he couldn't defend when reality hit. For T.I., this is the hardest truth to swallow. He's been warning King for years, telling him the streets don't play, that trying to act like something you're not will get you locked up or worse. Now those warnings have come true, and Tip is left pleading with the system he once fought against, trying to protect the son who ignored every lesson. The fallout from King Harris's attack in jail has turned into more than just another scandal. It's now a full-blown cultural debate about parenting, privilege, and legacy. For years, T.I. built his brand as a hustler who turned his life around, preaching discipline and wisdom while giving his kids opportunities he never had. But watching King spiral into this point, reckless choices, a prison sentence, and now violence behind bars, has people asking tough questions about whether fame can ever shield kids from the lure of bad decisions. On one hand, critics say T.I. gave King too much freedom. They argue that King's meltdown moments, like the Waffle House drama or the Falcons fight, should have been wake-up calls that required stronger intervention. Instead, they claim Tip tried to clown his son publicly, turning their issues into viral moments that pushed King to rebel harder. On the other hand, some fans defend T.I., saying he did everything he could. They point out that Tip constantly checked his son, warned him about the streets, and even humbled him on camera when King tried to act out. At some point, they say, a grown man makes his own choices, and King made his. Either way, the Harris family legacy is at stake. Once seen as hip-hop royalty, thanks to the family hustle and T.I. and Tiny's careers, they're now being clowned online as proof that even the most successful families can't escape dysfunction. Blogs are calling King the weak link in the Harris dynasty, while others argue he's simply the product of fame, money, and too much pressure. And Boozy, never one to stay quiet, continues to pour fuel on the fire, roasting Tip for preaching wisdom while his son gets jumped inside. For Tip, it's humiliation on multiple levels, as a father, as a man, and as a public figure. But the bigger picture is King himself. His 5-year sentence is just starting, and already he's learning the hard way that jail isn't the stage for bravado, it's survival. The attack he faced might be the first of many challenges, or it could be the reality check he desperately needed. Some fans think this experience will finally humble him, strip away the pride, and make him see the truth his father's been preaching. Others believe his stubbornness will keep him defiant, refusing to back down even as the system breaks him down. For T.I., though, it's simple. He doesn't care about King's ego anymore. He cares about keeping his son alive. His pleas to the court, his emotional outbursts, his calls for mercy, they show a man terrified that his boy won't survive long enough to learn from his mistakes. And that's the part that hits hardest. Ty escaped the streets, fought his way into success, and tried to break the cycle. Yet here he is, watching history repeat itself in a way that's even more painful than what he went through. At the end of the day, King Harris's story is more than just another headline. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when pride, privilege, and pressure collide. It's a reminder that the streets don't care who your father is, and jail doesn't hand out passes because your family's famous. King wanted to prove he wasn't soft. Now he's living in the toughest reality possible. And T.I., once the blueprint for breaking out of the trap, is now left begging for the one thing money and fame can't guarantee, his son's safety.